Hey, what's up, everybody? Working remote today from a MacBook Pro, so I don't have all of my awesome streaming tools and whatnot. So I hope you guys can hear me all right. I'm up in the Pocono Mountains out in Pennsylvania. Kids are all at the lake, so I thought I would get on and knock out some SharePoint Weekly Newsletter Roundup if anybody was on. Uh, like I said, kind of a messy setup here, so bear with me today as we slide around through different screens and, just don't look so polished, but that's okay. It's all good. Got no music in the background or anything like that, so just bear with me here as we go through this. But still gonna do it. Try to knock out this weekly newsletter roundup. Get you guys all the news if you haven't already gone through the newsletter. It did go out this morning, so let's just jump into it. Let's get going. If you guys can't hear me, or if you have problems hearing me or anything like that, just let me know. We'll try to get something working so it sounds better, but I think it's working all right so far. Let's just take a look. All right, so if you're not familiar, I'm Kevin Townsend, K-Creative here at Bamboo Solutions. We put out a weekly newsletter. It pretty much captures all of the latest news for the SharePoint space, Microsoft SharePoint. We're a Microsoft products and services company. And so we like to compile all the latest news that's gone on over the last 7 days into a newsletter and send that out on Friday mornings. If you are interested in signing up for that newsletter, you can actually, I'm going to type a little link in chat. You can access that registration URL and get some access to register for the newsletter that we're going to go over today. So that'll go into your inbox every Friday, 8 a.m. But yeah, so that's who we are. That's what we're doing. So let's just get into it. I do this every Friday at noon. So come join us if you're interested in any of the Microsoft SharePoint. It actually encompasses all the things around Microsoft space because almost everything touches SharePoint nowadays. And so this Friday, on Fridays we just go through this thing and talk about all the stuff. So here's a look at the newsletter. I've opened it up in my email, and then I clicked on the link at the top of the email that said view the email in the browser. So it is a MailChimp newsletter, and you do have access to all your past issues. So you have the ability to click on that and go back and look and read some of the older news, maybe from last week or the week before. But this does encapsulate all the latest news for the last 7 days. So let's just jump in. The format's usually, let's go through some top news stories. Those are things that are coming from, magazines or I guess, I don't know, more commercialized sources on the web as well as from Microsoft and partners, etc. And then we go through around the blogosphere, which is more enthusiasts, maybe some of the MVPs in the industry, just blog posts that are a little bit more specific about a specific technology, or maybe a developer sort of walkthrough to accomplish something, or an administrator's configuration to set some settings, etc. So the blogosphere kind of covers that, and then we'll look at some of the upcoming events coming up in the SharePoint space. So let's jump in. SharePoint 2019 Roadmap, Reflections from SharePoint Conference 2019. If you guys didn't get a chance to check out the conference, they did stream a little bit of it on Twitch. It was kind of interesting. This particular blog post by Sam talks a little bit about some of the things that he pulled out of it, it looks like, some of the roadmap. And so we've got the intelligent intranet and search. If you guys haven't read much about that, it really is sort of this, well, I'll just read it. It says, every year Microsoft seems to have a theme for what SharePoint is, and this year it is the intelligent intranet. And so there's a link there actually to go and look at Microsoft's post on what that means. Personally, he didn't get a strong sense of where the intelligence was supposed to be. There were some broad statements about personalized experiences, but the main change seems to be the introduction of Microsoft Search. And Search is sort of this centralized concept of being able to search across all assets across your organization because you're in Office 365 consuming those services. Your data is there, so why not be able to search it from pretty much anywhere you are within that 365 ecosystem? So they're saying here, he says that Search is replacing SharePoint Search. Microsoft Search is replacing SharePoint Search. And the new Search is intelligent in that it tries to make smart suggestions as you type. The announcement wasn't new for the conference, but the demonstration made it clear as to what it means. And it's good news, generally speaking. One of the frustrations to date, he says, has been that if you search Office 365 in different places, such as SharePoint, OneDrive, and Office 365 homepage, you get considerably different results, each presented in a different way. Microsoft Search standardizes that, replacing the search bar. So yeah, it's hard to see this. Let me see if I can open that in a new tab and pull it a little bit larger. Here we go. So it's something like this, right? So as you're viewing all the different services within Office 365, you can see here we're in the different apps, right? You have that same standardized search experience across the platform, and can search across all those various parts of Office 365 through that one box, right? So that's kind of useful and intuitive, I think. Let's see what else. All your Office apps will have the same search built in. He said a really handy scenario is that when you're inside PowerPoint and you search for another presentation, you'll see individual slides within the results, and you're able to actually drop those into your deck straight from search. So that's kind of neat too. Jeff Tepper, he used the phrase "answers, not links," an expression that this dude Sam has used for many years. He says about how enterprise search needs to improve. It still has a long way to go, but the first encouraging step is that search results can be blocks of text, and the demonstration showed someone typing paternity leave and seeing an answer from a found HR page. So it's got, it's gotten more useful. What else we got here? We've got home sites in the SharePoint roadmap. So, let's see here. Jed Cawthorn has done a great job of summarizing what SharePoint home sites do. So there's a good post on that. Let's see if we can just touch on that briefly, just so everyone has that understanding. Home sites. So they pitched home sites as the landing page for your intelligent intranet. It is, in effect, a site template for an enterprise portal, a personalized landing page, and way into your corporate intranet. So its features and functionality let you quickly and easily build a communication-centric intranet homepage experience. In that respect, it goes beyond SharePoint, as it includes new integrations for Stream, Microsoft Stream, for streaming video, and Yammer for bidirectional conversational communication. And the ease of setup, as well as the ease of use, he says, is a main element of the marketing message. So to quote corporate VP Microsoft Office Jeff Tepper's blog post, he says, where Internet portal projects of the past were often measured in months, you can now deploy a home site in minutes and then, with no code, customize and brand the out-of-the-box web parts, navigation, and site design to reflect the voice and priorities of the organization. So that's pretty cool. That's a little bit about what home sites are. And so that was big news at the conference. Although this headline announcement at the conference, Sam says here, audience reaction was mixed. Some viewed the home site as just a communication or a hub site with some suitable configurations to the search scope and news metadata and things like that. But he says, however, the more enthusiastic saw it as the missing link in SharePoint offering a full intranet solution out of the box. A little bit about his opinion there. He says people are struggling to navigate across Office 365, and home sites give a sensible starting point for that. I can agree with that. The expert consensus, he says, seem to be that organizations of more than a few hundred employees should still look at or two Internet in a Box products. Microsoft tacitly acknowledged this by revealing 15 official home site partners such as Wisdom and Debble, whose intranet products will build on the basic functionality and extended. Another thing that came up in the roadmap discussion there that he wants to highlight is Kaizala. I don't know if you saw anything about this, but Kaizala is another messaging application, but it does have some unique capabilities in it. Somewhat of a corporate WhatsApp-like tool, Sam says. What else? He found a particularly useful use case for this, something around engaging a seasonal workforce. You wouldn't give an email account to people who were, picking fruit for a few months, for example, but with Kaizala, you can onboard them just with a cell phone number, and then it can be used to share shipped information. I did install that app and start messing with it, or did I? I might have used it through the web if there's a web version, actually. Useful feature is that you can invite people based on location using GPS, anyone within 100 meters for the next 10 minutes. Perfect for a quick town hall gathering. That's kind of cool, right? I can see a lot of use cases for that. That's pretty neat. I did not know that. Yammer was another big one. That's actually the last one here in this article. Yammer 2, it got several mentions, though attendance on the official roadmap session was pretty sparse. Yeah, I would imagine so too, right? I don't know. I just don't find a particular use case for Yammer. I'm not in a large company, and I don't interact with a lot of large companies that are already in Teams. If you're not in Teams, maybe Yammer has a bigger presence or a potential bigger presence, but I find that in smaller organizations that you don't really have that need to post messages to an organizational wide thing, whereas you more often are likely to communicate in a chat app like Teams or something like that. That just seems to be my experience. But he says, as always with Office 365, there is much to improve, but Microsoft deserves credit for focusing on continued integration and ease of use rather than just adding tools. So that's pretty cool. Let's see. What's next? Microsoft brings long-awaited Adobe PDF tool to SharePoint Online. What do we got here? Users of SharePoint Online can now view Adobe Acrobat PDF files and edit them without having to download them first. Well, that's pretty sweet. I haven't seen this yet. They partnered with Adobe to deliver a much-requested feature to Office 365 and SharePoint Online users. Over the years, customers have been asking Microsoft to allow integration between its services more deeply with PDFs. Specifically, users can now interact with PDF files without having to download and save them to a machine. So Microsoft SharePoint Server on-premises version has supported this tool for some time, in a rare example of a Microsoft on-prem service receiving a feature before its cloud counterpart. 3 years ago, a SharePoint user voice thread gained traction asking for deeper PDF file user in SharePoint Online. Okay. Many commentators on the thread said the lack of support was a deal breaker for the organization. So the new PDF support. Under the previous system, customers who needed to view or edit an Acrobat PDF, it would need to be downloaded first. Last week, Microsoft teamed with Adobe to solve this limitation. Users can now leave PDF files in Office 365 for SharePoint libraries. In the newest set of updates, they said, to PDF tools designed to deepen integrations with SharePoint and OneDrive, Adobe Document Cloud has improved the user experience for its web tools, ensuring that if you have all of the major capabilities to work with PDF files on the web and in the context of SharePoint, ensuring that you do have all those. So by storing the files in SharePoint Online and OneDrive, Office 365 subscribers have more control over their content. That's pretty cool. So now you can store those things in SharePoint Online and in OneDrive and edit your PDFs in the browser. Nice. SharePoint intranets then versus now, a UX perspective. This is always interesting to me. I love aesthetics and graphics and UI and UX. Let's see what we got here. The intranet is the hub of the digital workplace, a central driver for collaboration and transformation for organizations in the digital era. This guy says, as a SP UX consultant, I have lived and breathed the evolution of this collaboration platform over many years, experiencing the rapid transformation of SharePoint from a primary collaboration platform for intranets to an online environment where users can embrace creative collaboration. So, what do we see about yesteryear? The average intranet development time in 2001 was over 33 months. Is that insane or what? Small teams worked on these projects with limited access to human resources and even fewer employees dedicated to intranet maintenance, governance, and iterative development. However, in recent years, development time has reduced to 14 months and usually involves a team of up to 20 members, which can grow even larger as different stages of the intranet go live. They act as a reflection of an organization's brand and identity. Therefore, customization has always been an important element, and organizations are designing their SharePoint intranets when they're designing their intranets. Microsoft enabled this functionality in 2007 when it merged its Microsoft Content Management Server into SharePoint, which gave designers complete control over page rendering. The level of flexibility led designers and developers to believe they could build any imaginable site from scratch. However, when the next version of SharePoint was rolled out, what did we learn? Brizoke. So what do we have now for today? The phenomenal growth of SharePoint Online has resulted in more customers building portals using SharePoint Online as their main platform. This provides access to a powerful suite of modern features and ensures that right content is always placed in front of the right people. True dat. So SharePoint Online continuously evolves, allowing intranet users to use modern web parts as the building blocks for their intranet requirements, with modern templates offering attractive out-of-the-box designs. The adoption of these modern sites can strengthen intranets, resulting in improvements in search and collaboration. So organizations are also analyzing the cost difference. You do have all these other amazing integrations to take into account when you're doing that, like Office 365 apps, like Power Apps, Flow, Microsoft Teams. While previous versions of SharePoint, he says, made it tempting to customize everything with SharePoint Online, it's a good idea to evaluate the business benefits. So critical considerations for intranet success: using an agile approach to developing a modern intranet enables increased flexibility, allows the digital workplace to develop and evolve as your organization. Yep. So you got some emerging technologies he's touching on. Content audit, migration, and ongoing management are essential. Yep. So a good post there on SharePoint Intranet's the inverse now. I think obviously it's I said obviously, but it's so obvious the attention that Microsoft is putting in that design and that UX perspective of the newer SharePoint versions. So it, unanimously well accepted across the industry, in my opinion. There are little gotchas here and there about it. And the web parts being available in modern pages and the options that are there currently are a little bit limited, but they're coming. It's all going to work out. And for the better, it's going to be pretty sexy looking. Here's another, we did this, I don't know, maybe a couple months ago. Someone talked about some comparisons between Office 365 and G Suite. So this one's, which one has better management tools? So let's see. So when you choose a productivity platform like Microsoft Office 365 or Google's G Suite, the main focus on the platform's platform's functionality. Does it do the job you need? That's critical, but he says, choosing a platform and having, so jumpy. Sorry, guys. But you got to consider the administration side of things, he's saying here in this article. And so, dude, I am not even going to read your post if you can't, computer world. To continue reading this article, register here. Yeah, okay. So anyways, it sounds like we've got a nice post here on how the administrative side of these two platforms compare and maybe why you might choose one over the other and potentially where one may rise above the other. OneDrive is getting 2 terabyte storage option for Office 365 subscribers along with new personal vault feature. I did see something about this vault feature. It looked really interesting. Something about how it's got the ability to set up, 2-factor auth for specific folders, which I thought was really neat. I haven't looked into it too much yet, so I don't know the details, but they announced additional OneDrive storage plans for 365 subscribers today, along with the upcoming new security feature called OneDrive Personal Vault. The additional storage plans have been a much requested feature, yep. Especially since Dropbox, Google Drive, and Apple iCloud have been offering more than a terabyte of cloud storage for quite some time. They're still offering 5G, what is that? Microsoft is still offering 5G of cloud storage, 5 gigs of cloud storage with its free OneDrive. Shouldn't it be 5GB? But the first paid tier at $199 a month will now offer 100 gigs, okay? The new plan will roll out soon, and current subscribers will automatically get 50 gigs, so that's good for free. Office 365 subscribers, on the other hand, who like to get more than a terabyte of storage, will make it possible to add storage in 200 gig increments, starting at $1.99 a month, to a maximum of 2 terabytes. So that, if you went up to 2 terabytes, that's about $10 a month. So that's pretty comparable to Dropbox, I think, what I was paying there. But that is in addition to the Office 365 subscription. OneDrive additional storage will be available in the coming months wherever Office 365 is available. They do have an update here. So home users, Microsoft clarified in a statement to NeoWin that only the primary account holder can purchase additional storage, and the additional storage will only be available to the primary account holder to use. What else? So if you'd like to have additional protections for your most important files in OneDrive, the upcoming Personal Vault feature will be able to lock files with a PIN, biometric authentication, or an SMS or email. The feature will also work with Microsoft's Authenticator app for 2-step verification. That's pretty tight. So OneDrive mobile apps on iOS and Android will make it possible to shoot pictures and scan documents directly into your Personal Vault, and all files will be protected in a BitLocker encrypted area on a Windows 10 PC. Users with a free OneDrive Basic account will only be able to store a limited number of files in the Personal Vault, and an Office 365 subscription will be required for unrestricted access. So it's in quotes here, Personal Vault adds to the robust privacy and security that OneDrive currently offers, including file encryption at rest and in transit, suspicious activity monitoring, ransomware detection and recovery, mass file deletion notification and recovery, virus scanning on download for known threats, and version history for all file types. OneDrive Personal Vault will roll out soon in Australia, New Zealand, Canada, and it should become available for all OneDrive users before the end of the year. It's pretty cool. OneDrive is definitely getting some sweet love, and it's I've been saying this for a few months now. It's finally coming in line with the look, the capabilities, and maybe even surpassing in some areas those other competitors in the market there. Cloud study, Microsoft Azure earns high marks for compatibility. Let's see what they got. Where we at on time? 12:22. usually done with this stream around 12:30, so we'll see where we get. Organizations narrowly favor Microsoft Azure over rivals AWS and Google Cloud for its compatibility with existing services. It's one of the findings of a recent report by Spiceworks titled "Public Cloud Trends in 2019 and Beyond," which also found AWS to be ranked highest in the areas of uptime, security, and value, while GCP being Google Cloud, if you didn't know, was being deemed simplest to manage and most innovative. In general, however, all three providers got close rankings from the respondents. So, what do we have here? Additionally, the Austin, Texas-based marketing services company found that the use of public cloud services by organizations may nearly double in the next 2 years. Roughly 27% of business workloads currently use public cloud services, according to the study, but the number is expected to reach 48% by 2021. Cloud use expectations ran somewhat higher for small businesses, defined as organizations with up to 99 employees. The report stated that small businesses expected to run 53% of their workloads in public clouds compared to 46% for mid-sized businesses and 41% for enterprise. So the larger you are, the less likely, potentially, to use the cloud, public cloud. Let's see what else we got here. The new technologies that elicited interest in the cloud included edge computing, used by 15%, serverless computing, used by 15%, and containers, used by 18%. Security associated with the public cloud use still appeared to be a stumbling block for some organizations. Only 35% of the respondents felt that cloud service providers offered better security than what IT pros currently provide for their own servers. Nearly a third of the respondents indicated that they had experienced a cloud-based security challenge. A higher figure, nearly 50%, was reported by the enterprise respondents. Some interesting information there out of the Redmond channel partner on Azure earning high marks. Where did Azure earn the higher marks, though? Didn't see that. Yeah, I didn't see much of that comparison called out, actually, but I'll probably go back and read that a little bit more focused. Like Microsoft's new Windows Terminal. I'm so excited about this Windows Terminal. Have you guys seen it? Here's a snapshot of it. So Windows Terminal is, let's see what they say. They made its Windows Terminal app available in preview form in the Microsoft Store, so that is there now. Previously, if you wanted to test it out, you had to go and pretty much download the source code and then run the project from Visual Studio to have that. But now it's available in the Microsoft Store. It's a terminal application for developers who use Command Prompt, PowerShell, and Windows 10 Windows Subsystem for Linux. On June 21st, a listing for the preview version of Windows Terminal appeared in the store. But for now, a working version is not available to the public, at least not without a code to redeem it. Oh, I didn't know that. That's lame. Here's the update. Microsoft released the Windows Terminal app preview later in the day on June 21st. It's available in the Microsoft Store for Windows 10 users for free for those running the Windows 10 May update 1903 or higher. So the store listing, thanks to such and such, describes Windows Terminal Preview as a very early preview release with many usability issues, most notably the lack of support. It is going to be an open source terminal app that will include multiple tabs, Unicode and UTF-8 character support, a GPU accelerated text rendering engine, and custom themes and styles and configurations and It's going to be awesome, actually, especially in the Windows space. Those who want to build the app themselves can use the terminal code from GitHub. That's for sure. They published the source code on Windows Terminal code or Windows Terminal on GitHub alongside its existing Windows Console host, aka conhost.exe. That's the original Windows command line app. Console host's main mission following the announcement of Windows Terminal is backwards compatibility with existing console subsystem apps. Neato bandito. I do like it. I've been using the Windows Subsystem for Linux 2.0 lately, and I just have been using that as my console pretty much to do all of my development. But yeah, this looks really promising. Microsoft Edge dev preview builds now available for older Windows versions. What do we got in here? So now you can use the Edge dev preview. That's funny. Edge dev preview on old Windows. So what is this one? We've got the Chromium-based Edge browser on older versions of Windows. Last week, the company only released the builds on the Canary channel for Windows 7, Windows 8, and Windows 8.1 at first. And it's now releasing builds on the dev channel for the older versions. Gotcha. Yeah, I'm interested to know. Are you guys running Canary or dev build of Chromium-based Edge? I run them both just because I like to run them side by side and see what the differences are if I can find any. So far, I can't say I've noticed any major things. At first, Canary build was crashing on me a lot when I would hit Microsoft Dynamics online. It would crash on me quite a bit. So don't know if that's related or not, but that was my experience. All right, so let's jump down into the Around the Blogosphere. Only a few minutes left here, so I'm just going to highlight some of these, and then we'll go into events and call it a day. SharePoint Online Modern Admin Center, classic features in Modern Admin. Let's see what he's saying here. Another day in the SharePoint world as an admin. All right. Let's see. I guess he's talking about the common problem with a lot of those classic features not being accessible through the new admin center yet. On that page, all the remaining features, term store, user profiles, search, apps, etc. will be listed. So they created a new page inside the admin center called Classic Features that incorporates those things. You'll see it in your tenant, depending upon your tenant target release options. Microsoft's rolling out these recently. His tenant's on the early target release, so he gets it early. As you mentioned above, Microsoft created a new page that's got these things in it. It looks like we got a nice little screenshot here of how that looks. So you've got just a couple of cards here or sections to go in and access those classic features through that. You notice that they all look classic and not converted into modern yet. I think they want to bring everything to Modern Admin Center, and it's taking time to convert, but there's a huge pressure on them that admin don't want to go back and forth between the classic and Modern Admin Center, that's for sure. So if you explore the classic features, left-hand pane, quick launch, select the admin center in SharePoint. Now there's a menu item down there called classic features. This is what the page looks like. If you click on the title or click open, you're going to get that classic view of managing those capabilities. Interesting. So they've added a way to access it from the modern side. That's nice. Licensing your Bamboo on-premises products explained. I did write a blog post on this. If you guys are interested in understanding how we license our products, this is a blog post I submitted. With the MinRoll deployment option now for SharePoint, we're finding that when you deploy what's typically you would license a web front-end server, but nowadays you can deploy, well, you could previously too, but you could deploy web front-end servers as well as application servers, right? And the app servers usually ran things like your Office web apps or something else like that, right? And so now in MinRoll, when you deploy a server as an app server, it also has the web application service enabled on it, which means that the product that you would deploy from us would be installed on that server as well and now requires support and maintenance. So we have to license those as well. So this blog post kind of helps clarify that, break that down, and help our customers understand that process. What else? Make your web part work with colored page sections. That's interesting. So now in the modern experience, you can colorize your sections of the modern pages. And so he's saying a little bit of a walkthrough here on how you can help your web part display correctly in those colored page sections. So it looks like we got some technical information there, how to specify some CSS maybe to help you make your web part fit. What else? How to get localized field titles via CSOM and SharePoint. I'm not going to go into that one. It sounds pretty technical, but there's a nice post there from Sedomovalex's blog. Totally butchered his name, so sorry about that. His or her. Backup SharePoint Framework Solutions. How do you do that? It's growing. Yes, it is. You have a way to restore older solutions on the user interface. However, it requires some steps. He thinks the easiest way is to save an older version on your desktop prior to update. And then with PowerShell script below, you'll save the current solutions deployed globally to your desktop. So he's saying, before you do these things, let's back them up locally and then deploy our solution. And then we can always roll back if we need to. I just kind of cut that blog post short, but I think that's the gist of it. Performance and Power Apps, got a post on that. Using Learnin to manage SPFX projects with library components. I think I saw this on one of the recent dev PMP calls where They were talking about how you can share your library components across multiple web parts as opposed to having to include them in each individual web part. Um, so it looks, I think that's going to be a post on that. Finding where highlighter is used in a SharePoint site. SharePoint Online Tiles web part. I looked at that. If you're going to go ahead and write some JavaScript solutions, I think you could start there. Use this as an example to sort of get that promoted link capability into a modern page like you used to have in SharePoint 2013 and 16. I think it was in 16, right? What else? Microsoft Teams and SharePoint News still not working as it should be, so calling that out. Fixing font styling issues in your SPFX application customizers, and then SharePoint Online Modern Admin Center bulk action features and bulk delete. Yeah. So since we're past the half hour here, I'm just going to run through the events. So we've got SharePoint Saturdays coming up. If you haven't been to one, I really recommend you go. We got one coming up here in Beijing. I still don't know how to say that name. I need to look it up. Poon? I don't know. Vietnam, and then we have SharePoint Saturday coming up in New York City and Omaha and Charlotte and Lima, and in Central Europe, August 31st. We've also got a webinar coming up for building modern SharePoint applications using SharePoint Framework. That's online July 23rd, and then there's another couple of events here. We got SharePoint Fest coming up in Seattle, and then we have the SP TechCon. If you're going to SP TechCon, let us know. We will be there with a booth. We do have discount codes to get you a little bit of dollars off your ticket price. So reach out to us if you're interested. sales@bamboosolutions.com. But that's going to be August 25th through the 28th in Boston. So yeah, we'll be there. Hope to see you there. I think Rob's going to go to this conference. So if you want to go shake hands with Rob, he's the president of the company. He does everything. He's more than just a president. He's a boots on the ground kind of guy. So he'll be there, shake your hand, and talk to you, and get you all the info you might want. So that's a wrap for today. I hope the stream wasn't too crappy, being that I'm on this MacBook Pro and out in the mountains. But I appreciate you guys jumping on and watching. If you're watching this on video on demand, leave me a message or a like or something. Let me know what you think. Yeah, that's it. Y'all have a great weekend. We'll see you on Wednesday for... Actually, I won't be streaming on Wednesday. I'm out for the holiday. So I probably won't see you guys next week. We will pick this back up. When is this? Well, it'll be... What? We'll pick this back up the week of the 8th. So the 10th of July is the next time we'll stream. We'll be doing our webinar prep on that Wednesday at noon, so come hang out with us while we do that. And then that Friday, the 12th, we'll be doing the weekly newsletter roundup again. In fact, I got to check on that. I'm not even sure that the newsletter is going to go out next week because of the holiday, so we'll see. I'll let you guys know. Thank you all. Have a great weekend. Peace out.